It all started with a bet. Jacob, a college student with exactly $3.42 in his bank account, was sitting in his dorm room with his two best friends, Mike and Danny. They had just watched an online documentary about the biggest heist in history. Diamonds, paintings, even gold bars stolen straight out of high-security vaults. That's when Mike, in his infinite wisdom, said, "I bet you couldn't even steal something as simple as a goat." Jacob laughed. "A goat? What kind of dumb heist is that?" Danny, the mastermind of the group, or so he claimed, sat up. "No, wait, this could be legendary," Mike smirked. "There's that one farm outside town. I hear they have the greatest goat of all time." Jacob rolled his eyes. "The greatest goat?" Mike nodded solemnly. "They call him Zeus." Danny's eyes widened. "Like the Greek god?" Mike leaned in, lowering his voice dramatically. "Bigger, meaner, smarter. They say he once escaped from an armored trailer, and that he can smell fear." Jacob laughed again. "All right, I'll do it. But if I pull this off, you're both paying for my food for a month." And so, the dumbest heist in history began. The plan, or lack thereof. The trio spent a total of 7 minutes planning the heist, which mostly consisted of Danny Googling how to steal a goat, not helpful, Mike sketching a blueprint of the farm on a napkin, completely inaccurate, Jacob watching YouTube tutorials on how to make friends with a goat, adorable but useless. The official plan? Step 1, sneak into the farm. Step 2, grab Zeus. Step 3, get out. Step 4, profit. What could possibly go wrong? The execution, a disaster in 3 acts. The farm was surrounded by a tall wooden fence, but nothing could stop Jacob, not when free food was on the line. The boys arrived at 1 a.m., dressed in all black, because of course that's what professional criminals do. Danny insisted on wearing ski masks, despite the fact that it was 80 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Jacob took a deep breath. "All right, let's do this," Mike whispered. "Wait, what if Zeus is awake?" Danny scoffed. "It's a goat, dude. What's he gonna do? Call the cops?" Jacob carefully climbed over the fence and landed in the farmyard. Silence. The air was thick with the scent of hay. He tiptoed past the sleeping chickens, past a very unimpressed-looking cow, and finally he saw it. Zeus. And he was massive. His fur gleamed in the moonlight, his horns curved like something out of a Viking legend. His eyes locked onto Jacob's, and Jacob swore he heard thunder in the distance. Okay, easy there, buddy," Jacob whispered, reaching out a hand. "I'm just gonna—" That's when Zeus charged. Act 1, the chase. Jacob ran for his life. He had stolen a bike once when he was 10. It was actually his cousin's, and he gave it back after 5 minutes. But this was the first time he had ever stolen the wrath of a beast from hell. Zeus barreled toward him, hooves pounding against the dirt like a war drum. Jacob scrambled toward the fence, but before he could make it, crash! Zeus headbutted Jacob straight through the chicken coop. Feathers exploded into the air. Chickens shrieked. Somewhere, a duck quacked in terror. Danny and Mike stood outside the fence, watching in horror. Danny whispered, "Is that part of the plan?" Mike shook his head. "I don't think so." Act 2, the getaway. Jacob, covered in feathers and regret, somehow managed to grab Zeus's rope leash. Okay, we're going now," he gasped, dragging the enormous goat toward the fence. Zeus, however, was not a fan of being kidnapped. Instead of cooperating, he yeeted himself backward, dragging Jacob across the dirt like a rag doll. He slammed through 2 barrels, a wheelbarrow, and a pile of hay before finally skidding to a stop in front of the farm's security cameras. Jacob blinked up at the lens. It blinked back. Somewhere in the distance, a siren started wailing. Act 3. The arrest. Danny and Mike had already made a run for it, leaving Jacob alone with a very smug-looking Zeus. Moments later, a flashlight beamed in Jacob's face. Well, a deep voice drawled. "What do we have here?" Jacob squinted. It was Sheriff Williams, the town's grumpiest police officer. Jacob sighed. "Would you believe me if I said I was borrowing the goat?" Sheriff Williams chuckled. "Not a chance." Jacob sat up, groaning. So, what happens now?" The sheriff shrugged. You tell me. Looks like Zeus already gave you a proper punishment. Jacob groaned. Can I at least get one phone call? The sheriff nodded. Sure. Who you calling? Jacob sighed. My friends. The sheriff smirked. Oh, you mean the two who left you behind? Jacob froze. I hate those guys. The aftermath. The next morning, Jacob was released with a warning and the world's most humiliating nickname, Goat Boy. The farm owner thought the whole thing was hilarious and even let Jacob take a selfie with Zeus, who, to this day, still looks like he's plotting revenge. Mike and Danny? They did pay for Jacob's food for a month, but only because they sold his embarrassing story to their entire college. The video of Jacob getting body slammed by a goat went viral. Within a week, he was TikTok famous. And as for Zeus? Well, Zeus remained undefeated. Moral of the story? Never bet on a goat heist. They always win.